Yep, to the yep. You already know what time it is, man. It's your girl P.O.C. We back live, 98.5 WJYN, man. Each and every Friday. It's the Friday show. You already know I'm reviving your airways, bringing you that conversation that's for you and about you. Everything we do is a full bull effect. It's for you and about you. You know, we got a jam-packed show every Friday. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Revive is alive, revive is alive, revive is alive.com is the place you need to be. Click that play button. And then also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our newsletter so you can stay locked. But everything we got going on, exclusive interviews, recaps, and so much more. We're kicking off 2025 bigger, better, stronger than ever. So you definitely want to be a part of it. And all you got to do is sign up for that newsletter. But right now, we about to get into what our special guest. We finally made it on the air. I'm excited to be speaking with her. She has a lot to offer the city of Philadelphia and beyond when it comes down to just education, entrepreneurship, and connections. That's their tagline. We're going to learn more about their tagline today. We're speaking to the executive director, Pamela Rich-Wheeler from the Business Center. Good afternoon. Welcome to 98.5. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, and thanks for having me, POC. It's
No
a
doubt. I'm excited we finally made it. We finally made it on air together. We finally get to tell the people your story and what you guys got going on at the Business Center. But probably introduce yourself so that people know exactly who they're listening to.
sure. So I am the executive director and founder of the Business Center, and this year we're celebrating 25 years.
Congratulations.
And basically, our mission is to equip individuals with the tools they need to start, sustain, and expand their operations. And we do this for adults and for youth. And we basically deliver on our mission with three core programs. And our first core program is Communiversity, and that's because we actually take our workshop and our seminars out into the community. And they are various small business topics ranging from marketing to legal to accounting, just tax preparation, things to get your house in order so that you can be operating legitimately.
I love that. I love that. In the city of Philadelphia, that's one thing they gonna do, right? These people gonna make sure they come up with an idea, come up with a way to be, on their own, separate themselves, marginalize themselves in their own different ways. And when it comes down to just serving a marginalized city like Philadelphia, how do you make sure when you want to speak to them about business and education, you're meeting them where they are so they can understand it?
So basically, we have an initial meeting, and that leads me into our second program, which is our one-on-one coaching. And that's where we can kind of meet with you one-on-one, assess where you are. Do you even understand what it means to be an entrepreneur and the sacrifice that's involved in that? And
Mm-hmm.
if you come to the table saying that you need a certain, um, I guess, piece to improve your business, and we just say, okay, well, let's take a look at what's going on. Just as if
Mm-hmm.
you went to the doctor's office, right? You say, I got this one thing going on, but then you have to kind of break it down. And it might actually be something else that you need,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be that exact thing that you actually need. So you're saying, I want to increase sales. I want to increase my staff. But maybe when we look at those numbers, it might not be a position where you actually need to increase staff at that time, but maybe instead you need to just do more marketing or
Mm-hmm.
just, come up with more strategy, get the word out about what you do.
Hmm. And you've been in the game for 25 years, right? 25 years. Congratulations, a quarter of a century. It's not easy to do, right? Some people barely make it past five nowadays, because being an entrepreneur and owning your own business became a little trendy, right? But before we get into that, I want to ask you this quick question, right? Because being in the game for 25 years, you've seen so many different things. You've been through so many different, inflations to, like presidencies to just so many different ways of how you scaled your businesses through this American dream that we all want, right? Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, what were some of the challenges specifically just for you in growing the business center over the past 25 years? And you're about to be 25 in an administration that everyone's scared of, right? Right? Scared of right now. So let me hear what you got to say. I want to listen.
Well, first of all, I came from the corporate side. I
Okay.
I a nonprofit leader, so I have much mad level respect for the nonprofit leaders that have taken the time to do the training. So I had to actually learn the nonprofit industry on top of what we were going to offer in this industry.
Hmm.
And I had to develop relationships with our Banking institutions are public officials because our niche is the Northwest, but we do serve beyond the Northwest. And then I think the plus is that I actually ran a for-profit before I ran a nonprofit. So I did have a sense of, okay, these people that I'm meeting with, it's not going to be foreign to me because I've actually experienced entrepreneurship myself. I ran a company. I had investors investing in shares, and I actually had the opportunity to sell the company and benefit from that as well.
Awesome. So you even know what it feels like to start over. Some people are afraid to start over. And I wanted to go back to that point I was trying to make about, being an entrepreneur became trendy over these past 4 or 5 years, right? Specifically in the pandemic, when everyone felt like, I don't want to go back to work. I want to start my own business. I have an idea. How do you help people get out of that idea phase, right? Because people think sometimes just because they have an idea, people are going to automatically buy into it. They automatically think their families are going to celebrate them. But that's not always the case when people jump off the porch.
Well, POC, I'm so glad you asked that question because the first thing that we do is ask, have you done a feasibility study? So let's do that and see if it's feasible, right? Then, if it's feasible, let's do a business plan.
Hmm.
That business plan is going to serve as a roadmap. That's going to give you what you need to figure out how many people you need to add to your team, to figure out what your marketing strategy needs to be, or what channels you need to use, and then how much you need to be fully capitalized.
And also another thing too, you keep mentioning the word marketing. I'm glad that you bring that up because that I want people to hear how important that is, right? Because selling your brand and then also selling yourself are two different things. And I'm learning that in so many different levels and so many different capacities, right? And just for people who are thinking about, coming to the business center with an idea, who feel like they don't want to put themselves out there in order to start a business. Do you have any advice for those kind of folks as well?
So just so I have your question captured right, you're saying if they don't want to put themselves out or if they want to come up with marketing strategies.
Yeah, so for example, right now, social media, social networks are the fastest, quickest way to reach an audience. But some folks want the product to be what the audience sees. They don't want to see me playing with the product saying, "Hey, come get this product." They just want the product to be what's shown. So, with the Swiffer, what's it called? Swiffer Wet Jet, they're showing the mop throughout the entire commercial. They're not showing themselves. So for young entrepreneurs or people who are just getting started in small businesses, how can they capitalize of just making the product the marketing material and not themselves? And I'm sorry, that was a deep question, but people want to know.
So you do have, all these social media tools now, right? You have, I guess, TikTok. You don't have to show yourself. You can show the product. You can sell it online through Amazon, and you can highlight the features of the product and the benefits and
Mm-hmm.
product through there, and they never have to even come in contact with you. Um, you could also make sure that you do press releases, you know, and what we're doing right now, just interviewing on uh, radio programs and have a representative do
Awesome.
that. That's not if that's not one of your strong suits. But this is the most important thing. If you are marketing your product or service, this is what I want the takeaway to be. Make sure you have it as 2 to 5% of your budget. 2 to 5%. Because what tends to happen is that we don't do enough marketing, right? Somebody
Hmm.
know about you. Oh, I didn't know this existed. But self those gauges, and that's coming from the SBA. That's not coming from Pamela Rich-Wheeler. That's coming from research standards in the marketplace from an institution, which is the Small Business Administration, that says if you're going to be out here as a small business, and for them, a small business is anything under 500 employees, believe it or not, employees, you're still a small business to them.
Hmm.
Basically, 2 to 5% of your budget should be spent on marketing. And just sit with that for a minute. That's an amazing thing to think about. So you should be doing a variety of things in that space,
Hmm.
or you're covering that cost. And that might also mean, POC, bringing a sales representative on to sell your product. If you don't want to put yourself out there, get an expert that can do that. That might mean hiring a social media strategist. Now, a lot of people are doing podcasts,
Yeah.
to help promote their product or service as well. But make sure it's 2 to 5% of your budget.
I definitely agree with you. And like I said, I'm learning that myself in so many different capacities. But I want to get back to the business center, right? You mentioned earlier in our conversation that you serve the Northwest section of Philly, but you also make sure you get to every region and every sector and every zip code. So when it comes down to Northwest Philadelphia, how would you say the residents are actually, liking and taking heed of what you guys are doing over there? I know you've been in business for 25 years, but residents change over time. So how's it going?
Okay, so you're giving me an opportunity to shout out some businesses now. Sally Cafe, who just became a member of the Business Center,
Awesome.
and we were able to help them secure an employee who they love, love, love. And let me tell you what's hard about our business, POC, is the first time you mention something to someone, they might not take right away, right?
Hmm.
Particular employee that they have now, I've been, trying to make sure that they connect it for a couple of years now, because that individual is actually in our youth entrepreneurship program. She's been cooking
Awesome.
14. She volunteered at a local Italian restaurant right on Lincoln Drive in the Northwest. And I was like, this person would be a strong addition to your team. And so that's how we're able to help small businesses
Awesome.
West. And also,
Word of mouth still works. That's what that means too.
yes, and then um, businesses also get if they become a member, they get to be on our website. So because we get a lot of traffic, people want to know about small business, they go to that section and they see who's members. That link will go directly to their website. And then
Awesome.
again, it's another way for them to gain exposure. But what we're most proud of is just really helping somebody understand what it means to be fully capitalized. And for most startup businesses, that means at least at a minimum, starting with 150,000 to 200,000.
Hmm. Oh, you talking big dollars. You got them zeros back there. She talking commas, people. For those who just tuning in, we're speaking with the one and only, the founder. Thank you for correcting me. The founder and executive director, Pamela Rich-Wheeler, who is doing some amazing work in the Northwest section of Philadelphia when it comes down to the business center. Again, their taglines is education, entrepreneurship, and connections. And I wanted to start there when it comes down to those three words, what do they mean to you, and how are, you putting that I would say that campaign or that slogan out to the people who are partnering with you or going into the business center?
So the entrepreneurship POC is because if you read the Business Center it only, and it wasn't part of our, logo or tagline, you might say, well, what are they? Do they just provide printing services, or, you wouldn't know, right? But we do want you to know that we serve entrepreneurs. So that's the entrepreneurship part of it. The connections part of it is just like I just mentioned to you a few minutes ago, is that the individuals really see us as the connector,
Hmm.
what it might be for their business. They see us as the connector in the community, providing them with resources for their business and giving them the correct information about what they need, for their business. So we really value and appreciate that. And we really look at it as an honor to be able to serve businesses to make that connection. So when they call us, they're like, they want us to have the answer, basically. And
You gotta be the plug. You gotta plug them right up in there.
this is our market research, right? So we did a market research study and said, well, when you think of the business center, what do you think of? And that's what came out of it. We see
Hmm.
connector. And so that's what we strive to be of service in that capacity. And then the last part of that is, um, you have the entrepreneurship, you have the connection, the education. We see ourselves as educators first and foremost because we're here right in the small business community. There's a lot of information. You mentioned we're talking about social media, talking about the internet. There's so much information out there, and not all of it is right. Not all of it. I'm so happy we can Google this and Google that, but we want to be that place that you come to and get the correct information,
Mm-hmm.
um, and information that you can apply within 24 hours. I was so happy to talk to one of our lending partners. We did a workshop during Minority Enterprise Development Week, and we did it
Awesome.
in their offices. And now, as a result, one of the construction companies that was present there is going through the process of getting a $500,000 loan because she was at,
Awesome.
and that's what we want to see. We want to see results that may be able, to occur within 24 hours or, 6 months, 3 months, but let's see some results.
Mm-hmm. And we definitely want to see some results in this 2025 season. And you got 10 tips for us, and how we can thrive in 2025. But I want to get there just yet. I want people to know that they need to stick around and listen to those 10 tips. But I want to ask you this question, when it comes down to education, education is innovating itself, and artificial intelligence is now a part of our educational understanding of how we're going to get to the source of anything, right? And some people are pushing back on it. Myself, as a business owner, especially as a journalist, I really haven't come to 100% agreement with incorporating AI fully into what I got going on. So I just wanted to ask you, being 25 years in the game, and then now we got this thing called Chat GPT. We got this, these different type of websites you can go directly to, like Canva, and just things pop up. I remember my first business proposal trying to just think about it off the muscle, and now you go Chat GPT and it just build you a proposal. But like you said, it's not always true, and it also can't bring you that swag that you need when you get in front of that boardroom, right? So what do you think about, just this AI coming into business, and people are utilizing it, as the tool, the hammer, and the nail?
Yes, yes. So, under education, we also pride ourselves in keeping up with the trends. So, the latest trend is understanding AI. That's one of them, right? And so, our purpose in
So
offering,
you're with it. You're with it.
we're with it
Okay.
because we want you to use it as a tool to be more productive, to be
Okay.
effective. Now, I'm a writer also. So, if I read something, I can tell if it was AI. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure.
AI and you didn't have any part of it, it most likely is going to present itself. So my use AI as a tool, as your friend, as your colleague, as your associate to do, you know, enhance what you're writing, but don't let it be you. Because
Hmm.
and people that are real strong writers and and can process actually read the material, they're
For
going to
sure.
know
And if
what
you and if you've been through a pitch session before, like you know what it means to write your own pitch, and present your own pitch, and then you know what it means to see somebody who just went directly to ChatGPT and then stand in front, and like that's not gonna cut it either to me.
like we live in such a much more fast-paced society, right?
Hmm.
You're only going to have to be even more hustle based, I would say, in 2025. Like everything is going to have to be moving quick. We're going to have to form quick alliances. We're going to have to be more organized, more collaborative,
Hmm.
form these tight ecosystems with each other. And guess what? As a result of that, we're going to need to use those AI tools to get things done faster and be more effective. So I would say use it in that way. You might need a quick brochure done. AI can even do that.
Hmm.
They can make appointments for you, and actually have a conversation.
I'm scared to do that. Don't start. Wait, that's a whole different type of conversation. Let's not go there too fast. I'm not ready to talk to a robot. I'm not gonna lie to you about that one.
Oh, I meant that. And the whole thing is AI.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, sure, we can do that.
Mm,
You
mm.
there, you got your personal assistant.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left, so I definitely want to get into these 10 ways small businesses can thrive in 2025. You have 10 tips for us. Is one of those tips how we can, not pay our taxes like our president-elect.
I wish I could. There is a, that we do see some reduction, if
For
nothing else.
sure. Yes, for sure. Especially for small business owners.
Yes, but I would say tip number one is be passionate about the work that you're doing. And you probably would think POC that's an automatic, but there are some people, and I have to say that I'm guilty of this. The first business that I had was not my passion; it was actually my grandfather's passion. I had a transportation company and
Hmm.
Minister of Transportation, and when I was still in corporate America, he said, "Pam, if you don't get into this, if you don't buy, it, then I will." And I was like, "Oh, this might be my last chance." He got me all hyped, and the next thing I know, I owned a bus. So I'm managing people's conference schedules and VIPs coming from other countries and Channel 10. You have this uh what was it called? It was some kind of fit fest they used to have. And we provided all the transportation, moving their volunteers around and everything. But at the end of the day, when I laid my head down on the pillow, I was like, this is stressful. This is not getting me excited when I wake up in the morning. Yes, I was establishing great relationships with universities and different conferences that came through here because we managed the transportation, we provided vehicles and everything. So I really had to take a step back and say, I got to find something I'm passionate about.
Hmm.
I learned when I left DuPont because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I grew up around a family of entrepreneurs, so that was in me. But before I left DuPont, when I was in one of the labs, I saw a sign and it said, "Find something you love to do, and you'll never work a day in your life." And
That's
so that's
dope.
real passion.
I believe in that for sure.
So number two is to also operate with integrity.
Hmm.
By that I mean, there are different deals that people are going to be doing this year. There's commitments they're going to be making as far as how that partnership is going to play itself out. And,
Contracts are not going to be renewed.
and things aren't always going to turn out the way you intended for it to turn out, but at least come to the table with the intention of doing the right thing. There are actually people out here that don't even do that.
Hmm.
Their whole intention is to get over or to be shysters, and that's not a good thing.
Hmm.
Operate with integrity and just know in your spirit that's what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So
And
that
ignore all the scammers. Do your best to ignore all the scammers.
or all the scammers, if you don't, they say you get a gut feeling, right? If you don't feel in your gut that it's not right, it probably isn't.
Hmm. Number three. What's number three?
Number three is to be guided by a business plan. That's what we do. And the business plan will let you set goals and will also help you to be successful, because we feel without a business plan, you can be pulled in so many directions. Things that you hadn't even planned to be offering, you'll be offering because somebody said, y'all should do this, y'all should do that. No, my business plan and my plan is that we're going to do this. This is the number of units we're going to sell in a year, in a month, in a week, and a day, and I'm sticking to that plan.
Hmm. Hmm. Number four.
Number four is to establish a unique selling position. So, in that regard, you know, the business owner should think about what is it that makes them unique. We can walk down the street and there might be several soul food places, but what is it that makes you stand out? And why would I come to you versus going to the next, person that offers the same service or product?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Number five.
Number five is to grow your client base by 10%. We talked about social media and how we have to be on there, but collecting phone numbers, that's
Hmm.
still very, very important. get those emails and phone because that's going to allow you to develop a relationship with the customer. You saw what happened during COVID when people didn't have that information. Some of them went out. So that's still very, very important
For
to
sure.
the email. So I'm challenging everybody to grow that email and phone number base of their clients by 10%. And when you go into the stores, they ask you for that information.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they ask you for that information so that you can then become part of their distribution list and they can start studying your patterns or how you make your purchases.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to do a little bit more than that. We want to develop a relationship with the person that we're serving.
For sure. And Miss Pam, we got about 5 minutes left. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure we get through all 10.
Okay, so number six, we, we talked about earlier, and that is spending 2 to 5% on your marketing. Now, if you're a larger company, you've been in business for a while, you could probably go up to about 14%. But if you're just starting, to start with 2 to 5%, or if you're, in that growth phase, that's still a good range, and you can do that by securing radio appearances, and press releases, social media. Those are just a few things that could be done for that area. Number seven is strengthen your team. That's actually more important than the marketing because guess what happens after the marketing? They start calling you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whoever answer that phone, as you see, they represent the company. It
Exactly.
could be a good experience for somebody, or it could be a real like I ain't gone. So make sure that team is not only professional, but they are experts in whatever it is that you're doing, and they're well, versed in what the product and service offers.
Mm-hmm.
Number eight would be to solidify your ecosystem. Um, Whether your ecosystem is B2B or B2C, you had the opportunity to really just embrace what these individuals or businesses and say, you know what? I like working with you. Let's work with each other more because you're part of my ecosystem. And I'm strategically and consciously making sure I do that.
Yeah.
Because if you had a good experience with somebody and they can be an ongoing supplier or you can bundle your services, why not just do more of that in 2025? We already know what we want to do because I tell people, I say, look, if you've been doing something for a number of years, you know what's going to happen from January to December. You just
Mm-hmm.
expect it. And one way to do that is just to strengthen those same relationships that you feel are good in your ecosystem. So number nine is establish an advisory board. And
Especially if you got the nonprofit.
yes, your advisory board actually can serve as your advocate, or your coach. It might be a contract that you're trying to get, and that person has the better relationship. They can serve as your advocate, or they can serve as the sponsor for your business and making sure that that transaction takes place. And it's a lot easier to come to somebody and ask them to be on your advisory board than to say, "Will you be my mentor?"
Yeah.
Uh, so that's what I recommend. And then last but not least, learn from others. And as I mentioned to you, POC, one of the things that we value more than anything else is being educators and giving and providing comprehensive education. So
Mm-hmm.
whether you learn from others by joining a trade organization, which I highly recommend everybody figure out what it is, because there's a trade organization for every sector that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Read articles on your, field, or if you come to the business center, we have a number of workshops that are coming up, and I think I'll just mention a few of them. We have our next business plan workshop will be starting March 10th, and then
Okay.
our healthcare and beauty accelerator will be starting March 18th.
Awesome.
And at the end of that, uh, the individuals have more access to capital is our number one goal, but also will know how to enhance their product if they have a healthcare or beauty or skincare product. And then we have a workshop coming up in January on just budgeting. That's going to be January, I believe January 17th, 10 a.m. at Why Not Prosper. But for any of these workshops, you can receive more information on our website,
I was
which
just
is
going to say that. Yep. Let's make sure we get that information to the folks so they can know exactly where to find you all. As far as your social media, we talked about your social media today, but how can they get to your social media? We talked about, as far as creating an outlet for people to be able to find who you are in the marketing sector. How can they get to your newsletter and then also your website?
okay. Our website is thebizcenter.com. And for all of our events that we mentioned today, they will just / upcoming events. So that's THEBIZCTR.com / upcoming events. And they can also find us on Facebook. And they can also call us if they have additional questions at 215-247-2473 extension 3.
Awesome. Awesome. And I definitely just wanted to shout you out again, a quarter of a century doing, what you love to do as far as creating space for other people to thrive. You know what I mean? Like to create a business center, not just for yourself to thrive, but to make sure that other small businesses and other like-minded folks like yourself get an opportunity to see themselves as a boss. You know what I mean? A lot of people deserve to be in that seat. So I appreciate you creating seats for more people to be able to fill up. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing here in the city of Philadelphia. Um, when it comes down to my last question, I want to ask you, and we do got like a really tight window. When it comes down to signing up for the business center, can you give us like a brief synopsis of the process? Like they come, they fill the paperwork out, you call them, like how does it work?
So they can actually sign up online, the same workshop, or we can do it over the phone, but the same process, I should say. If they go to THEBIZCTR.com / business plan, there an individual will see they can actually see a preview of the business plan course, and then it will give them instruction on how to sign up. And
Perfect.
same for the healthcare and beauty accelerator. The process is right there online for them.
It goes back to that reading she was talking about. Make sure y'all read, okay? I appreciate you so much for coming through again. I hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to connecting and seeing how we can bring you more onto 98.5 to maybe answer questions to our audience who have business questions, seeing how we can connect that way as well.
I would love to do that, POC. Any way that we can serve in that capacity, it's our pleasure.
All right, let's make it happen because we're not in Northwest, we are North. So let's see, how we can blend those gaps between them zip codes real quick.
And that's cool because we serve the Northwest and beyond.
Yes, let's make it happen. I appreciate you so much. Again, you're listening to Pamela Rich-Wheeler, who's the founder and executive director of the Business Center. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend. You already know what time it is, man. It's your girl P.O.C. Turn your radios up each and every Friday, 98.5 WJYN. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Let's get it.